Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Islamic Defense Podcast. So, someone actually responded to my video. Yes! Whoa!
That's what I've been waiting for.
So, someone actually responded to my video, and I think he actually responded to a video titled Evolution Part 2. This is the second video of my evolution playlist on my series on evolution. So yeah, let's take a look. Let's see what he said. This is not true. There actually have been many scientific theories which had good evidence and that later turned out to be absolutely false because the new evidence was misunderstood. This is known as the affirming the consequent fallacy. Basically, when you assume a theory and look for evidence, and then when you find the evidence, you assume because you found the evidence, this now proves the theory, when the evidence could be there for various different types of reasons other than your theory. Here's a logical example. Premise 1. If I find a mail in my mailbox, it will prove that people love me. Premise 2. I found a mail in my mailbox. Conclusion. Therefore, people love me. Well, the problem here is that it could very well be that case that it's a hate mail. So, it doesn't really prove anything. So
you will attempt to refute a definition, a dictionary definition, pretending it says something else. Did they say, the scientific theory is a proven fact in an absolute sense? Did they say that? No, they didn't. So you addressed a strawman.
What? Did I ever say that Royal Institution said that science is an absolute fact? No, I have never said this. Again, like if you watch my video, my evolution playlist video, the whole purpose is to refute scientism. So in case you guys don't know, scientism is the belief that science is the only way to the truth. Now this view is problematic, and in the first video I explained why this is problematic. I explained that in the past and even now, people have used these type of scientific theories to justify hate crime against people. Now when I made the video responding to Royal Institution, I'm not saying that Royal Institution is saying that science is absolute fact. I have never said that. My point is to refute the people who believe that science is an absolute fact. However, I do think that Royal Institutions, the way they phrase their argument is problematic for a number of different reasons. One of them is that they're saying is that scientific theories are actually better than other theories such as political theory or moral theory or other type of logical theories, right? That is based on logic. I'm saying no, that's not the case. I'm saying scientific theory, while it is useful and very, very rigorous, it's still the same as any other theory that is also based on logic. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Royal Institution is saying that scientific theories are absolute. I've never said that. Regardless, this is a strawman argument. He committed the strawman argument fallacy. Regardless, let's continue.
Yet, Hamza Georges, who began this civilization-ending stupidity, that science is not reliable, he will happily say that even a hug might be enough when it comes to accept Islam.
What?
Innate disposition, has a ruh, a soul, has a qalb, a heart, has a aql, and the intellect is a function of the heart in Islamic tradition, and it has a fitrah, and the fitrah is clouded. And within the fitrah, the innate disposition, there are forms of proto-knowledge in the Islamic tradition that God is a reality and that He's worthy of worship, but that clouded. So it could be that a sound, rational argument, philosophical argument, whatever, can uncloud your innate disposition to awaken the truth within, or it could be something else, or it could be a combination of things. So when you ask me, it needs to be demonstrated, well, I need to find out who you are, because I don't know where your cloud is. Maybe you need a rational argument, maybe you need a good hug, maybe you need some love, maybe you need some really strong Quranic verses to wake you up, because the reason for your disbelief is arrogance, right?
Did you catch that? When it comes to reject Islam, not even science is nothing. What is evolution? What is DNA confirmation?
What? What does that
No,
have to do with anything?
science is not reliable. When it comes to accept Islam, even a hug. You wanna kiss, a hug. Whatever. Okay, this is the people we are talking about.
What? Is this guy brain dead or something? Like, I'm curious. What? When did Hamza Zorsas ever say that science is not reliable? Did you imagine this? When did he say this? Stupid! Hamza Zorsas is not saying that at all. Basically, what he's saying here is that sometimes people's conviction doesn't just come from logic alone. That's all he's saying. That doesn't mean that he's saying that you should reject logic completely. He's saying some people will be convinced by your logic, some people won't be. And as a matter of fact, he is actually right, because there are scientific studies that were done by various different scientists that actually shows that when it comes to decision making, we make decisions more based on emotion than logic. And I'm not kidding. This is actually based on a scientific research data. Okay, so there's an article in Quartz, and they basically, the title of the article is that Keep Losing Arguments, a psychologist explained why emotions are more persuasive than logic. And they actually quoted a study which shows that many patients who cannot process emotion also struggle to make decisions. So basically, people who, I'll put the research study on the screen, people who struggle to make decisions, people who cannot process emotion properly also cannot make decisions, which means our emotions play a huge role in us making decisions. Most theories of choice assume that decisions derive from an assessment of the future outcomes of various options and alternatives through some type of cost-benefit analysis. The influence of emotion on decision making is largely ignored. Then the studies of decision making in neurological patients who can no longer process information normally suggests that people make judgment not only by evaluating the consequences and their probability of occurring, but also, and even sometimes primarily, at a gut or emotional level. Basically, what Brother Hamza is saying that sometimes logic is not enough to convince someone. And when logic fails, you have to use emotional argument or use something that is emotional. And he's absolutely right. Because this study proves that human beings don't just make decisions simply based on logic. So he's absolutely right on this. And this idiot is like, look at this Muslims, they're saying that, got a kiss, it's gonna convince. And he's right. Again, like Brother Hamza Zorsa, he has a PhD in philosophy, like he knows what he's talking about. It's not like he's not an uneducated moron like you.
Because you're a fool, with all due respect, and you're ignorant of these things.
So maybe next time you try to respond to him, do a little bit of research. It doesn't hurt. Either way, let's continue.
That will teach the world what is a fact. Okay. The other ending civilizations idiot, Sopur Ahmed, who is the main proponent against evolution, accepts the evidence for the prophecies in the Quran, but when it comes to evolution, he will change the definition of what is evidence.
So tell me this, are you scientific realist or an instrumentalist? How are you defining evidence? I'm not defining evidence. Are you a scientific realist? Are you a scientific realist or a scientific instrumentalist? I don't know. Okay, wait, hang on a second. No, wait, hang on. I'll tell you another matter and it bears on the evidence. I want to know. I'm going to answer that. I'm going to answer that. The reason I was very correct and correct. He says I'm wrong, so he's going to have to give me the correct. Sure. How are you defining evidence? Sure. It depends on whether you're a scientific realist or a scientific instrumentalist. Because if I come along to you, James, and I say I have this book is from God, and this is the Quran, and this says the purpose of life is to worship God. Somebody else comes to you, James, and says, actually the purpose of life is something else. You have the right, sir, to say, what proof do you have, what evidence do you have that this is the word of God? Because I could make up an arbitrary purpose and he could make up an arbitrary purpose. Anyone can write a book. There has to be some form of evidence. How would you discern the truth from falsehood?
You use empirical evidence.
Exactly, you would use empirical evidence.
Now it's empirical evidence, eh? Now it's empirical.
How do you define evidence?
So let me explain. If you're a scientific realist, then that would mean
How do you define evidence?
1 second. If it's something verifiable, something falsifiable, and something precise. You can't have a vague prophecy, like near the end times, the trees will move slightly towards the west. What does that mean? Because The trees moving towards the west, is that literal? Is that metaphorical? Does that mean trees are going to be cut down? We need something objective. So let me give you some objective evidence why I believe the Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of God. Let me give you one piece of evidence. You're scientific, difficult question. Aaron, relax. If you're scientific realist, then that basically means that evidence for you is the evidence from science. Whatever you observe, whatever you see, whatever theories come up, you believe that the unobservable world is the way that science is actually described. However, if you're a scientific instrumentalist, then you believe in the observable claims, but you don't believe in the unobservable claims. Define evidence is based upon my view, and the view that I hold, is that of constructive empiricism, and you have the subset view called selectionism. So I believe in the view of selectionism. Now, selectionism basically says this: we believe the claims about observables that scientists make, but claims about unobservables we do not accept.
Yeah, it's not. We believe only what we want to believe, and we reject only what we want to reject.
Wallahi, this guy's a fucking moron. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Socrates, if you're watching, you're a moron. Okay, so first he accuses brother Sabur Ahmed of saying that first he lied about Hamza Jorses, saying that he's promoting that science is not reliable, which is not true. Then he lied about Sabur Ahmed, saying that okay, basically he's trying to make it seem like Sabur Ahmed is contradicting himself. But what he doesn't realize is that he fails to do that completely, because in one situation, Brother Sabur, he is actually explaining to Aaron Ra, what his position is, and he's basically saying that he believes in selectionism, which is that he believes the things that scientists say based on empirical evidence. However, when it comes to prophecies, he's saying the same thing. Like, for example, the prophecies that have come true, these are things we can observe. These are historical facts. We can check them. So where's the contradiction? I don't get it. Like, what? Like, did you imagine a contradiction in your head? Like, where's the contradiction? I don't get it. So, I think maybe what he was trying to say here is that, Sabur Ahmed, it seems like Sabur Ahmed is at one point is accepting empirical evidence, in another place he is not. But in both cases, he's accepting empirical evidence. So what's the issue? Where's the contradiction? Dude, you even failed to show a simple contradiction.
Failure.
And you're saying that he's somehow being inconsistent when he's not. Again, this is another strawman. And by the way, this is something he does constantly. If you go to his channel, his whole channel is about, insulting Muslim apologists. And he fails completely, and I've seen his videos. They're really bad. And let's continue.
Royal institution gave a definition of a scientific theory and how it differs from the everyday use of the word theory. Islamic defense, you pointed out how scientific theories can be falsified. Which part of the definition of a scientific theory, the fact that scientific theories can be falsified, refutes? Maybe it refutes the fact that the term scientific theory differs from our everyday use of the word theory. No, it doesn't. Maybe theory means everything that is not absolutely proven. Still, that is a definition of a scientific theory, and still, it will differ from the everyday use of the word theory.
Okay. Okay, so this idiot does not understand my argument. Okay, so Royal Institution is saying that scientific theories are not the same as theories, in everyday sense of the word. Okay, that's their position. Why did I object to this? I objected to this because that's not true. In everyday lives, we use many different types of theories that is based on logic, that is also true, that is also reliable. For example, I'll give you an example. Let's say that I was born in Dhaka, right? Dhaka is a part of Bangladesh. Therefore, I was born in Bangladesh. Now, in this argument, I did not use any scientific theories at all, any math or anything like that, right? I used simple logic. That's it. There's no science, no math, nothing. And yet, I came to a true conclusion. That's my point. When you're making decisions in everyday life, you're not going to use scientific theories or scientific methodology every single time. That's not how people operate in real life. That doesn't mean these theories are unreliable. Okay, there are many different types of theories. Theories based on philosophy, based on logic, based on political philosophy, moral philosophy, right? They are not any less than scientific theories. Especially because scientific theories, even with all this rigorous process, still can be proven false. Same way, a theory based on logic can also be proven false. Recently, Brother Abdullah Al-Andalusi actually made a really good video, which I highly recommend that you watch, where he showed that Greek philosophers, without using any scientific methodology at all, predicted many scientific discoveries long before they were discovered, which is insane. They even talked about atoms, and they came to this conclusion simply based on logic. They didn't use any science at all. Now, I'm not saying that science is not important in this equation, but logic is the main key player here. And another thing you need to understand, which is that science does not work without logic. What do I mean by that? When it comes to scientists, they don't just find the data and then just come to a conclusion. It doesn't work like that. They have to interpret the data. And how do they interpret the data? They use logic. They use philosophy. You see, when people don't understand about philosophy, is that philosophy is everywhere. The use of logic is everywhere. Scientists also have to use logic and philosophy in order to come to a conclusion. So science does not work without philosophy or logic. Philosophy and logic is part of science. It doesn't work without it. And that's what I'm trying to say. And again, if you don't get it, I don't know how to explain to you. Regardless, let's continue.
Because quantum gravity might challenge some tenets of special relativity, and because special relativity might not favor Islam at this moment, suddenly special relativity became this, according to Islamic defense.
Put your ass out there, out of here. Vietnam?
I'm from Vietnam. Are you Vietnam?
You a goddamn liar. You're so crazy motherfucker. You forget.
Islamic defense, this guy also have a theory. Eh? It's the same, like Einstein, eh? Ah, look. He also got a theory. What he's doing now? This is science according to Islamic defense.
God. Like I said, dude, you're a moron. I'm sorry, if I seem condescending or insulting, I'm trying to help you. You're clearly suffering from the Dunning-Kruger effect. And you clearly, in your desperate attempt to try to refute me, you're what are you doing? What is that supposed to prove? Did I ever say that scientific theories is the same as a crackpot theory or conspiracy theories? No, I didn't. All I'm saying is that scientific theories is based on logic the same way many other theories are also based on logic. That's what you have to look at. You have to look at the argument. Does the argument that comes from, are scientific theories based on sound arguments or not? Are they based on logic or not? That's it. That's all I'm saying. So there are two different types of theories, right? So there are the reliable theories, then there are the unreliable theories. The reliable theories are theories that are based on logic. Now it can be scientific theories or it could be simply philosophical theories or other type of theories. Yeah. The other one is unreliable theories. These are theories that we just say based on our gut feeling. Now these theories are unreliable. I agree. Now obviously when I'm talking about scientific theories, I'm comparing the reliable theories. I'm not talking about unreliable theories. I'm talking about theories that are also based on logic. Okay? Logic and reasoning. What I'm saying is that a theory that is based on sound argument is as acceptable as a scientific theory. Unless you think that the argument is not sound, then you can prove that it's not sound, right? Same thing with a scientific theory. However, this doesn't make the scientific theory somehow more reliable than these other theories. especially because scientific theories can also be proven false. Same way, a philosophical argument or logical argument that can also be proven to be shown as weak. Either way, this is my position. And again, you strawman me. I have never said that scientific theory is the same as unreliable theories, such as this man. What he's saying is unreliable theory. What's the evidence? Like what? Like if someone says that the world is run by Illuminati, where's the evidence? Or the world is run by reptile people, where's the evidence? What's the argument? It's not good. It's not logical. It's not sound. That's the point. Either way, let's continue.
Forming the consequent fallacy. Basically, when you assume a theory and look for evidence, and then when you find the evidence, you assume because you found the evidence, this now proves the theory. When the evidence could be there for various different types of reasons, other than your theory. Here's a logical example. Premise 1. If I find a mail in my mailbox, it will prove that people love me. Premise 2. I found a mail in my mailbox. Conclusion. Therefore, people love me. Well, the problem here is that it could very well be the case that it's a hate mail. So it doesn't really prove anything. So I'll give you guys a real life example.
You seriously gave this as an analogy to science. Look, premise 1. If I find a mail in my mailbox, it will prove that people love me. Premise 2. I found a mail in my mailbox. Conclusion. Therefore, people love me. This is exactly science, eh? So let me get that straight. So according to you, science just is like Islam. Just he said so, eh? They don't investigate. So they
this guy again is proving that he's suffering from Dunning-Kruger effect. He completely lied about me in this portion of the video.
You lying to people.
Now, if you watch the full video, you can see that I'm talking about scientific theories that has been proven false. I'm talking about weak scientific theories. I'm not talking about all scientific theories. This is not true. There actually have been many scientific theories which had good evidence and that later turned out to be absolutely false because the new evidence was misunderstood. This is known as the affirming the consequent fallacy. Basically, when you assume a theory and look for evidence, and then when you find the evidence, you assume because you found the evidence, this now proves the theory, when the evidence could be there for various different types of reasons other than your theory. Here's a logical example. Premise 1. Okay, I'm talking about scientific theories that have been proven false, and I'm specifically talking about theories that are based on weak logic or fallacious arguments. I'm not saying that all scientific theories are unreliable or based on this logical fallacy. That's not what I'm saying, and this is a lie. Either way, let's continue.
I have a question for you. If, as you now admit, empirical evidence are not of importance when investigating truth, how you know Islam is true then?
What does someone have to do with my video? This is complete red herring. Also, where did Sabur Ahmed say that empirical evidence is not reliable? Like, are you smoking weed or something? Like, what's wrong with you, dude?
গাঁজা আপনারা খাইতে পারেন, গাঁজা আমরা খাই না।
Reasonable to believe equals level of claim plus level of conviction this claim demands divided by the evidence. If you apply this equation whether evolution is reasonable to believe, you will see that it is. Because the level of claim is moderated, the level of conviction this claim demands is moderated, the evidence is a mountain, is huge.
What? Okay. So this is interesting. So he thinks that when things, so basically he came up with his own theory, right? And his theory is that it's reasonable to believe something if level of claim, what does that even mean? Plus level of conviction this claim demands, then if you divide that with evidence, like, what does any of this have to do with whether something is true or not? And then he's talking about level of conviction this claim demands. What does this have to do with whether something is true or not? And then evidence. Okay, evidence has something to do with whether something is true or not. But then again, as I said, evidence can be misinterpreted and it can be misunderstood. So again, evidence alone doesn't mean anything. Again, what this guy doesn't understand is that science is only strong because it makes sound arguments. Okay? Philosophical sound arguments. Scientific theories that cannot make this type of strong arguments are weak because of this. Evidence alone doesn't prove anything. Like, for example, if tomorrow I found a bunch of white rocks, I mean, what does that tell me? That doesn't tell me anything. Like, I actually have to interpret this data using logic. You get it? You have to use your logic and philosophy to understand what this data means, what these white rocks mean. Where did that come from? Is it, how old is it, right? So you have to actually study it. You have to use logic to understand it. That's what I'm talking about. And this guy doesn't understand. Like, what? And the things he thinks are important to evaluate whether something is reasonable or not is complete red herring. This has nothing to do with whether something is reasonable to believe or not. Like, level of claim, what does that have to do with whether something is acceptable or not? Level of conviction, again, if something is true, it doesn't matter what level of conviction it depends on you. Same thing with level of claim.
Don't embarrass yourself in front of me.
Regardless, let's continue.
So, according to the Royal Institute, scientific theory is more than just a theory because it has evidence, predictability, and also because it was falsifiable. Premise 2. If we find any evidence that contradicts their statement, it would be proven false. Premise 3. We see that from the theory of James Hutton of organic Earth, that his theory had evidence, predictability, and was falsified, and yet, 100 years later, it was still proven to be false by external evidence. This contradicts the statement of the Royal Institution. Conclusion. Therefore, the statement made by Royal Institution is proven false, and scientific theory in the end is still a theory.
Okay, now it's time to put your feet in your mouth and do what you are preaching. Next time you get sick, don't go to a doctor, go to a random person in the street, because a scientific theory is just a theory. So he might also have a theory of what is wrong with you. Okay, now put your words in action and do that. Next time you get sick, don't go to a doctor, because science is just a theory. Let me explain what is wrong with your argument. You say, according to the Royal Institute, scientific theories are more than just a theory because it has evidence, predictability, and also because it is falsifiable. Premise 2. If we find any evidence that contradicts their statement, it will be proven false. Premise 3. We see from the theory of organic Earth by James blah 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 that lately it was proven false by external evidence. This contradicts the statement of the Royal Institute. No, it doesn't. How it contradicts this statement? According to the Royal Institute, scientific theories are more than just a theory because it has evidence, predictability, and also because it's falsifiable. Okay, how your premise 3 contradicts the premise 1? How? No, it doesn't.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to teach you how logic works. He again lied about me in this video. He again, I never said that scientific theories are not reliable. I have never said that. I also never said that you shouldn't make decisions based on science. Again, I have never said that. What am I saying here? Again, the position that the Royal Institution in their video made very clear is that they think scientific theory is somehow higher than other theories. However, the problem here is that some of these other theories are also based on logic. The same way science is based on logic. Okay? Now, just because these other theories did not go through a rigorous process does not mean they're any less reliable. Okay? Because you have to look at the argument. For example, let's say a certain moral theory, right? Or a certain political theory. They don't become invalid just because they are not proven by science. Now then he says that how does the premise 1 and premise 3 contradict? Like, dude, are you blind? What does premise 1 say? According to Royal Institution, scientific theories are more than just theory because it has evidence, predictability, and because it is falsifiable. So basically what the Royal Institution is trying to say here is that because of these 3 categories, scientific theories are more than just theory. It has somehow higher status when it comes to logic or knowledge. However, I'm showing here that we have theories that had this so-called higher status and yet they were wrong. Okay? Because they were based on fallacies. They were based on bad arguments. Okay? And this is the problem with the scientific endeavor. You have to look at the argument. Okay? You can't just look at the evidence and then say whatever. That's what I'm saying. That this thing that they say is more than other theories, which are also based on logic, yet this was wrong just like the other theories, which is also based on logic. So this doesn't prove anything. This doesn't mean that it's somehow higher. It means it's the same as the other theories. Does that mean that I'm now saying that scientific theories are not reliable? Of course not. Both of these theories are reliable. Again, I'm talking about reliable theories. Again, there are 2 types of theories, reliable and unreliable. I'm talking about reliable theories. Theories that are not based on science, but based on logic. But regardless, let's continue. Let's see what else nonsense he has to say.
So I said, scientific theory is a tested scientific hypothesis in a level that scientists are confident to call it knowledge. It's the highest knowledge that can ever be in the human intellectual establishment. Theory in the plain language doesn't necessarily have evidence. Then Islamic defense answers. Which scientific experiment did you conduct to get this conclusion? Science is the most reliable way to knowledge because it objectively and methodically investigates the world, and knowing relates to reality. Religion is the least reliable way to knowledge because it addresses superstition and the ghosts in human minds.
This is interesting. So basically, he said that science is the most reliable way to knowledge. So basically, he's proving that he's a scientist, a scientismist, right? He believes in scientism, which is that science is the most reliable way to knowledge, or the only reliable way to knowledge. Again, I'm against that. I believe that science is a useful way to knowledge, but I don't think it's the only way to knowledge, right? And to demonstrate that, I asked him that the conclusion that he came to, that science is the most reliable method to knowledge, did he use scientific method to come to this knowledge, or come to this conclusion? No, he didn't. This shows you what? This shows you that when it comes to accepting something, we don't use science in most cases. And that's fine. You don't have to use the scientific method and calculate every single thing that you do. You can simply use logic as long as they're effective and they're not, based on fallacies, then it's completely fine. And that's my point. And then he says that, science is reliable, blah, blah, blah. He repeats the same thing, but he doesn't answer my question, which is that it's impossible to judge everything by a scientific method. It's just not possible. So the only option we have is using logic, and that's perfectly valid. Because scientific knowledge can also be false, proven false, and it has been proven false, but shows that it's not that reliable. It is reliable, but it's not that reliable. Like somehow it's above any other logical theories out there. Regardless, with this I'm done with this clown. This guy is not just a clown, he's the whole circus.
What you been doing there? Hiding, yeah? Hiding!
I'm hiding!
You're hiding, boy!
I'm hiding!
You're hiding!
And with this, I'm done with the video. Again, if you guys like my video, then please consider support me on Patreon, and you can also become a member. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. And with this, I'm done. Thank you guys for watching. Assalamualaikum Everyone.